I know I've been whining a little bit about how much I detest The Sims 4 Horse Ranch because it clearly lacks passion and it simply does not feel like an expansion pack. It feels like a game pack's worth of content and it's a little bit exploitive. And usually when it comes to Sims 4 pack releases, usually like I'm one of the most miserable, negative, moany people. But with this pack release, it seems like literally everyone has the exact same sentiment. Obviously, there are some people who are very excited about the pack, but there are also a significant amount of people who are not excited about the pack. The last time I remember that happening was with The Sims 4 My Wedding Stories. I don't know if anybody remembers all the controversy surrounding that, but the Sims community had a bit of a meltdown and people felt really demotivated with the pack. Even content creators weren't making content on it. The exact same thing seems to be happening with other Sims content creators too. Obviously, certain Sims content creators who cover news and stuff, we've been covering Horse Ranch, but of all the Sims content creators who don't really do news, they haven't even made any videos about the pack. So normally they make at least like one or two, but a lot of them literally haven't made like any videos since the initial trailer. It just seems like morale for the pack is very low, and it's not just amongst the Sims community and the Sims content creators themselves, but also EA themselves. The Sims team are usually extremely active on Twitter before a pack release. Normally they're doing like a Q&A session where they go over the pack features and they go over how excited they are to release a pack to people. None of the Sims team this time around though have really done that. Like, it's been totally radio silent. And the last time the Sims team were very radio silent like this on Twitter was when My Wedding Stories came out. And it makes me wonder, you know, is this a similar situation with My Wedding Stories where the pack may allegedly be being released too early? Did they have time constraints that they couldn't work with? Did they have budget constraints? Did they put not that many staff in terms of making it? Like, I don't know what's going on, but the Sims team don't normally have morale this low. And there's that saying like silence, nothing, what's that saying? Nothing is louder than silence. Silence is the loudest noise. I forgot that saying. Guys, can you remind me what that saying is, please? Because I completely forgot. But you know what saying I'm talking about? It's just the lack of ambition that's coming from the pack. It makes me feel like it's, you know, it was made to be a flop. And even more bad news, unfortunately, we have got confirmation, kind of semi-officially, that unicorns are not in the game. This was confirmed by an EA employee on TikTok leaving a comment. So the little dildo horn that goes on your horse's head, unfortunately, that is not a real horn. I've been very careful so far not to express my opinions in this video because I don't just want to repeat myself. Instead, I'm making this video about you guys because it's all lovely if a content creator like me comes on because people will just say, oh, SatchOnSims is always a miserable bitch. Of course, he hates this pack. But today, I'm not even going to give any of my own opinions. Instead, I'm actually just going to go over yours. And I asked you guys, is The Sims 4 Horse Ranch an expansion pack's worth of features? If not, what should it contain? 91% of you said that this is not an expansion pack's worth of features. 91% is a shockingly high amount. I was genuinely expecting like a 50-50 response. And if I said this about another pack, like I know Seasons, Growing Together, Eco Lifestyle, I feel like it would have been 50-50. But the fact that 90% of you have said that it doesn't look worth it, I think is really astonishing. Somebody said competitive horse racing should have been a real feature. I've had a look through all of your comments and I noticed other people have said very similar thing about horse racing, whether that be betting on horses or racing them yourselves. Another person said it should have contained a few new careers, including an active horse trainer or ranch hand career and new lot types. I was genuinely on the subject of new lot types. I was actually really surprised that the pack didn't come with the new lot types because you see, for me, I would have thought having a ranch would have been a great lot type, a different kind of residential lot type that would have different unique features. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but I feel like it's something that they could have implemented, or at least some kind of special horsey community lot, or maybe at least some kind of lot trait where you could actually like have loads of horses turn up at the lot, kind of like the Get Famous Celebrity lot trait, which attracts celebrities to the lot. I feel like they should have done the same with the horses pack, attracting horse riders and horse owners. I don't know. Many of you were talking about new careers, particularly live careers. Another thing that keeps popping up is to have more Native American representation. EA made a point in their blog posts about the pack saying that they basically worked with Indigenous people in order to increase representation in the pack, and how they're donating money to the Sacred Healing Circle charity, which is an Indigenous charity. Although many people have pointed out that this pack doesn't seem to be coming with that much Indigenous stuff. When you guys initially said this to me in my comment section. I said to you guys, don't worry, because it's very likely that they're going to put it in the base game, because the Sims team almost always do culture updates in the base game. So I was really surprised to see that we haven't really had any information about it coming in the base game. It's just the pack seems to come with some build mode items and some cast things that represent indigenous culture and maybe a couple of recipes. So this commenter said maybe it could have included an archery skill or harmonica skill or even a jewelry making skill. I can't find it, but last night I saw somebody left a comment talking about a pottery making skill too. Culture representation, I think, doesn't just have to be cast and build mode. It can also be gameplay too. And seeing that many people have this sentiment that the Sims 4 Horse Ranch doesn't come with much stuff, I actually think skills relating to indigenous culture might have actually been a really great thing, especially if it did involve making things. I don't know anything about indigenous culture, so probably getting it all wrong, but a lot of people spoke about making things like jewelry or pottery, and I think that would have been a really cool thing because I love craftables in The Sims 4. I think it's really fun crafting things. Another thing a lot of you mentioned was raising the number of Sims in the household to 10. I genuinely didn't even consider this because I normally play with like a 2-sim household, just Shanice, Shanice, and Chantal. So I never ever considered this. I think Fantasia made a video on this a couple of days ago, doing a bit of a deep dive on it. And when you think about it, like if you have a ranch, for example, with a dog, and you have a family of 2 parents and an infant and another kid, and you have another kid, like it all really adds up. The problem with The Sims 4 is that every single animal, cat, dog, horse, they come under your household requirement. I can't remember about The Sims 3, but I do remember in The Sims 2 that there was actually a separate household limit for human Sims and animal Sims, and the limit was a lot higher than The Sims 4. It's just you were limited more so on the amount of animals that you could have, but you could still have a much bigger household than The Sims 4. So that's something that a lot of people have been talking about. Another one that said a big animal veterinary career. Again, this is something a lot of people have been saying, especially seeming that cats and dogs came with the vets. Horses is basically the same thing as cats and dogs. It's an animal pack fundamentally. And going off on what a lot of people have been saying about a life career, I think it would have been good of EA to include a life career in the Horse Ranch pack, because even if it's like not vets, but you know, the stable boy or something else, some kind of caring life career around horses, I think would have been really tasteful. And I know a lot of you guys agree. I said stable boy, but is a farrier the same thing? I have no idea. I don't know anything about horses. Another person said a leather worker skill. Now this is a crafting thing I totally agree with, because obviously The Sims 4 Horse Ranch is supposed to come with riding equipment and you can change it depending on your horse. Imagine actually being able to like make your own saddles. I have no idea how leather making works, but maybe there could have been a way for them to implement it in the game. I think it would have been cool for making saddles. I think they could have done it in a way that's tasteful. Not every single human being is a vegan, although some people are against using animals for making clothing and things and equipment. So I'm sure they could have done it in like a vegan way too. And a ton of you have also been saying bigger lots. This here is the lot sizes of every single new lot on the map. And as you can see, we only have 164 by 64 and 150 by 50. The rest of them are really small. And a lot of people have been asking, how on earth are we going to be able to create horse ranches in this entire world if there's only 2 lots where you can actually make a horse ranch? Every single lot is so small. It seems unnaturally small so that you can't actually make proper horse ranches in the world. And that's a fair point, because the whole point of this pack is to be able to have a big open world for horses to roam around in. Obviously, The Sims 4 doesn't have open worlds, but what they could do is give us big open lots, but they didn't seem to do it with this pack. I don't know if some people would prefer to have less lots but bigger lots, or more lots but smaller lots. I don't know what you think about that. I personally think that there should be less lots but bigger lots, because Sims in The Sims 4 can traverse around different worlds. So you don't need like a bar in every world. You don't need a nightclub in every world, because you know, you can just travel to another world to do that. So totally agree with that one. And a billion of you have spoken about the mechanical bull riding thing. The mechanical bull was first introduced in The Sims 1, and it also came back in The Sims 3 too. Again, a very small feature, but a feature that could add to collectively making this pack worth the money, I think. Somebody just very nicely put gameplay, basically put more gameplay in the pack because it doesn't have any. And basically everyone has been talking about unicorns too. I know I said I wasn't going to make this video about my opinions, but I can't help myself. Like every single sim, when they've been talking about horses pack, they've been saying, yes, I want horses and unicorns. They never just say, I want a horses pack. They say, I want a horses plus unicorns pack. Like that's been driven in people for so long. It does seem awfully bizarre to me that they literally just haven't put unicorns in, like extremely extremely bizarre. I genuinely don't even know like what went through their minds. Like they could have just added a special skin for a horse and made it a locked skin, kind of like how Bonehilda works, for example, where her, you know, skeleton thing is basically like an outfit that's locked and hidden away in Cass. They could have done the same with unicorns. Maybe at a certain time of day, maybe at night time when it's a full moon, you might see a unicorn in a specific area of the world, and maybe it's tameable, but it's really difficult to tame. My personal theory is, as far as I'm aware, Horse Ranch does not come with wild horses. They didn't have any mention of wild horses, so I get the impression that because they didn't code in wild horses, they couldn't also code in unicorns. I say couldn't, I mean they didn't bother. So that's my theory why we don't have unicorns, but obviously everybody is upset about it, and rightfully so. I also asked the same on Twitter, and somebody said basically this is a game pack, another one 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 this is a game pack. Somebody here mentioned new deaths. See, I didn't actually think about this before, but normally every single Sims 4 expansion pack comes with at least one new death and one new woohoo location, and they haven't mentioned anything about that yet. So I'm assuming that we're not getting any. Somebody else also mentioned bird watching, which is a cool idea. The Sims community, I hate the Sims community because I do think they're very toxic. But Simmers in general, although there have been some chronically onlines being a bit weird and gaslighty, I feel like for the most part, people have approached this pack quite maturely and been like, I'm genuinely not excited about this pack and I'm disappointed because I love horses and I was so excited for a Sims 4 horses pack and it's just not it. And as I said before, we haven't seen this weirdly low sentiment ever since my wedding stories. As I said, I know some of you guys think I'm a ranty, miserable person, but I am genuinely just honest. I do big up some packs if I think they're good. Cottage Living, for example, I genuinely think that is an amazing pack and worth the money. And when I recently did my review of Cottage Living, I gave it a really great score because it is a great pack in my opinion. So I know the Sims team are capable of making good animal pack because this is basically the American version of Cottage Living. And if they can make a good British animal pack, in theory, they can also make a good American animal pack too. I always feel like I have to justify, like when I'm being honest. I shouldn't have to. But as I said before, I've noticed a lot of Sims content creators in general are not talking about this pack, and whereas I'm quite open, if I don't like a pack, I'll just brutally be honest about it. I think a lot of other Sims content creators, they want to keep their space more positive. Good for them, fair enough for them. But I think as a result of that, I think that's why a lot of other creators are basically not talking about the pack because they don't have anything positive to say, so they don't want to say anything at all. And again, the exact same thing happened with my wedding stories. Most Sims content creators, they did a review of the pack and then they literally didn't talk about the pack or touch it ever again. I know a lot of you guys come to me when you're in a bitchy mood. That's why I have been talking about it. I know some of the terminally onlines are going to interpret what I said as some such as being gossipy and disrespectful to other content creators. I'm not, like, it's not that deep. I'm just saying I as a content creator work differently from a lot of others in the Sims community. Love tons of Sims content creators and I love that they keep their channels positive space. I think it's incredible, perfect, beautiful. Couldn't think of anything better. Sometimes I do get comments in my comment section like, Sat, I'm going off such tangent from the main point of the video, but sometimes I do get comments in my comment section calling out other Sims YouTubers as sellouts or calling them fake because they're positive. Guys, I'll be honest, I think it's a bit disrespectful. I don't think they're being fake, they're just being themselves. All humans are different. Some of you go watch somebody, you know, like James Turner or Little Simsy for an upbeat fun let's play, and you come to me when you feel like you want to be a bitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, we all have our own special things. Nobody's better or worse than anybody else. But sometimes I do get comments in my comments section calling out other creators for being fake. I don't like it, so please don't do that. I know most of you don't. I know it's a minority, but if you're in that minority, please don't, because I don't think it's nice. Anyway, tangent over. I feel like I've uploaded like 5 main YouTube videos in the last 3 days. Like, I genuinely don't know how it happened. So I'm going to be taking a break now until Horse Ranch comes out and I do my review. I am going to be doing a Let's Play, even though the pack doesn't come with much content. Assuming that the content that's there is not broken, I am actually going to be doing my first ever SatchOnSims Sims 4 pack Let's Play with it. And we're going to be doing maybe like a Rags to Riches style thing with Shanice. So I'm excited for that. Make sure you subscribe so you do not miss any future videos. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.